we are not gonna just code 11001 on the claims form, right? Why?
It's an add-on.
Absolutely, it's an add-on code, so we wouldn't code just that one particular code. If it has a plus sign, it needs to be used in conjunction with something else. And of course, AMA has a little note underneath that in parentheses, again, reminding us of that. I have seen it coded with just the add-on code as a, so I'm just making sure everybody's mindful of that. Lots of illustrations, in this particular illustration at the very bottom, or it could be on the second page, or it's kind of in the middle of that.
We will always have design process.
What's that?
We will always have to design process before the add-on code.
The procedure for adding the add-on code, it's where directed to in the CPT manual. So if an add-on code's required, this is where we'll see that little plus sign, and then we'll know that it has to be added. Talked about margins. This little illustration kind of shows us or defines what a margin is when it comes to the integumentary system. Lot of notes. Again, if you take a look underneath almost every single code, you're going to see those parentheses with little additional notes in them. In different rules. Do not report 11008 in conjunction with 11000 to 1. Can everybody see that? Very straightforward. AMA is excellent about providing additional information. Next subsection, we get into our pairing and cutting. We get into biopsies. If you take a look at the biopsy, again, we have a paragraph of information that gives us or provides us with a little bit more information about what the specific guidelines are for that particular procedure. If we're using biopsy for the eyelid, we're using a totally different code. Can everybody see that? That little note in parentheses underneath that biopsy? Why is that? Essentially, we're talking about a different type of bodily system because it's optical, right? Okay. Again, our notes led us in the right direction. Removal of skin tags, that's where the counting, the numbers start to interplay. And again, there is a potential of an add-on code when it comes to the removal of skin tags. It's a little illustration there that describes skin tag removal. Would we need sedation for that? No.
Probably just like one of those local, like, something they just put on the skin and numb it, right?
Right. Yeah. So we have shaving, which is a procedure that's performed to the any type of dermal lesion. Again, we see a lot of measurements here, don't we? We're looking at the size of the area. Few rules and regs that kind of fit along to this particular section. We get into the excision of benign lesions. Now we're starting to see a little bit more information presented to us. Guidelines are getting a little bit deeper for the most part. And we have some definition there that tells us about reporting things separately. Can everybody see that? If you're taking a look at those notes, kind of glance down, probably maybe into a report, or where it says report separately each benign lesion, excise. Can everyone see that in that paragraph? Did you see it? So it's down in your second paragraph, about 4 lines down. Can everyone see that? I knew it was there.
I got a used book and
Is it
something that I've
highlighted,
been
is it written in?
and I missed it.
So, we are given instruction in these particular guidelines, I just want to point it out, about any special rules that apply to that particular subsection of the CPT guideline. This was not provided to us in that very beginning, right? That's why I'm saying to make sure you double check the section in which you are. If you take a look at the following page, code 11426, can everybody see in parentheses underneath that where it's telling us to use that modifier 22 for unusual or complicated? Okay.
72?
It's code 11426.
Oh, sorry.
If you take a look at that, you have it in parentheses, and it's directing you to that particular modifier. So that's something that I wanted to point out. Underneath that, we see centimeters. Again, we're measuring. Measuring is important in this particular section. If you take a look at code 11450, that's where we start to see our different complex repair. Can everyone see that? We have complex repair, we have our different types or classifications beginning to show up. For a definition of the intermediate or complex, it's actually, we went by it. In my book, it's page 64, 65. Let's see. Let's see on those pages. Does it state there what page they say? At the very end of excision, benign lesions. Page 75 has the definitions for intermediate or complex. So on page 75, we see those definitions. Can everyone see those? Very straightforward. Like I said, AMA is really good about providing you with pretty much, you're not really, there's not as much gray as ICD. And as long as you're essentially looking for the data you need and those guidelines that you need for each particular procedure, you'll be fine. So we see those different terms starting to pop up. When we talk about the malignant lesions, we've got a bit more information here as far as our length of, it's not just a paragraph or 2 or 3, and now we're getting into a lot more information. Because we have different types of services that are into play in pathology. We've got a lot of different information that's being, or resources being used for this particular type of lesion. Again, our measurements are interplaying in this. Our next section is nails, of course. And then we have the